to say a few things before handing it over. I just want to say, in Pure, we always, I hope you know that, do our very best to be best in class in whatever we do. And when we do that, we always look toward what's out there in the environment, our stakeholder, what's there, what is it that makes us being best in class. And one of the things we have been looking at, we have been looking many places, but one of the places we have been looking at in recent years, Plan S. So what do they mandate? What is the requirement to saying that we are Plan S compliant? And I think my colleague Chiara Farinelli have been touring with this presentation for a couple of years, for us to try and see or do our best we can to be Plan S compliant. And we are almost there. We are almost Plan S compliant. We can set check marks with almost everything, but there is one thing where we can argue whether or not we are Plan S compliant. And just digging into it. So what they say is use of persistent identifiers. We have that on Research Output and many other places we use persistent identifiers, DOIs, whatnot. What they also say is that when you put something in, you need to allow for upload of multiple files and so on, and we need to have versioning. And when it comes to versioning of files, there's some arguments on, are we really doing the very best we can on being compliant on that? So there is possibilities in Pure to upload multiple files. You can upload as many files in Pure as you want to. And that's not a problem. You can in Pure go in and upload whatever version of the record. You can go in and upload the submitted version. You can go in and upload the accepted manuscript and the published version. So we can upload all of that and you can store all of that in Pure. That is not the problem. That is not where we run into issues. Where we run into issues is in Pure you can delete files. And Pure has been that from the beginning. If you delete a file in Pure, it's gone. As long as you delete it and save the record, it's gone. So for that, we cannot say that we are compliant with Plan S. But what we do instead is we offer that you can put your data into Pure, you can put your files into Pure, and we can send them to external repositories where we can store these files. So there's a connection between Pure and these repositories. So if you do not like the idea of files being deleted, this is an option you can explore. We have for many years had a connection to DSpace. We recently upgraded that to the newest version. I think it's version, now I forgot 8 at least. And we also have a connection to EPrint. This is also a connector you can set up with your Pure. And then recently we got a new sister. So we have now also built in the opportunities to store your metadata in Pure and then send that data over to digital DC. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So this is just a small introduction, handing it over to my good colleague to talk about how that works.
I actually live in Washington, D.C. over in the States, and it's been quite confusing when people are like, where are you from? I'm like, D.C. They're like, no, where are you geographically from? Yeah, D.C., same. So lots of fun. But with that in mind, Digital Commons certainly is delighted to join the echelon here. Our focus is more on advanced institutional repository management. Essentially, our focus is on long-term preservation and dissemination of knowledge across all of the institution that you're a part of. Again, that's thinking about your institution's presence in 10, 20, 30 years. Digital Commons is the solution for that. Again, we do not just faculty works, of course, that's a big part of why we're excited to be partnering with Pure, but there's also beyond that, special collections, gray literature, archives, that sort of content. And on top of that, similar to Pure, we have our own version of dashboards that are broader, again, across the entire repository and allow you to capture those readership metrics in a real-time way. Additionally, we offer advanced workflows, these unique tools also to create and curate digital exhibits. And again, those are very visually forward, so they're a newer part of our portfolio, which we're really excited about. And again, our emphasis is on long-term preservation and generally advanced showcasing with that aim of increasing visibility of your broader institution in addition to the Pure content. So, if I can fan this out. There we go. And so what we found in our Pure and DC conversations was that despite our distinct stakeholders, our distinct functions, and the ways that kind of complementary ways that we engage on campus, there is a significant overlap in that content that was being uploaded both to Pure as well as DC, Digital Commons. And so managing that overlap for some of our customers was time-consuming, it was redundant, it was often a little bit questionable in terms of the data management. You would upload it in one location, but then it wouldn't push to the next, and you would forget which one you updated last, essentially. And so to make that process more efficient, we explored what does that interoperability need to be in order to minimize some of those challenges that our customers were having with data, and again, that time management piece. And so this is where Pure to DC sync service really plays that key role. It supports both that initial migration of content along with that ongoing sync between two systems. Again, this service allows our users to choose specific collections in DC to then go and migrate over, again, handling all the full text files as well as metadata only works. DC does support all the Pure content types as well as a large range of metadata fields. And as you can see in this visual here, essentially how it works is data flows automatically from Pure into DC each night, ensuring that both platforms, again, are consistently updated. Only works with that have been selected as validated. Those are the ones that are pushed each night. And then all those embargo and other sorts of rules you might have around the content, that's migrated over as well. This includes, again, both files as well as metadata. And those are all deposited automatically. And then to kind of close the loop, the URL of the DC record is then ported back to Pure, so you can see that on both sides of the house. So essentially you've got your Pure page, you've got your DC page, and then we've got this beautiful interstitial experience where you can see step by step truly what happens when the system is seeking, sending, and receiving essentially all of the content. So that ultimately you end up with a page where you can see not just the Pure content, again with a link that connects you back over to the DC page, but again, they're both consistent with the data that they're showing and the story that they're telling. Again, the goal here is that it does remove all of that manual management of both sides of the house. You get a consistent feel. You don't need to spend time being curious on which version is in which house, et cetera. So that was the goal of this whole journey, really. And so we built this, of course, for those who are currently using Pure and wanted a different way, of course, to showcase their work. Also helpful for those who have Pure as well as DC. You're already kind of set up for this sort of experience. And again, the thinking here is that for those who are also replacing maybe legacy systems or otherwise, this sort of service is a great connective point between the two if you're thinking about your overall picture of your institution. Again, to minimize all that cumbersome work and make it a little more supportive of that long-term data integrity. So I don't think that's me banging on the wall, but maybe I'm just so excited. No. So we actually have two use cases I'd like to share with you, one of which is with a first-time user of both Pure and DC. What they were doing is displacing their existing CRIS and IR systems, and they were looking to really onboard, again, to get all the capabilities of both Pure and DC to tell their story. So they were interested in the showcasing of the content. They wanted to use DCX. They were looking at the workflow specifically for journals and really wanted the impact of all of the dashboards that would be available to them. And so that because of that gap, again, that overlap rather in the content, this was really the right solution for them. And then we had a different customer who was actually a longtime DC customer. They were crazy about our journals, and they loved all the workflows, the publication processes, and so on. And then they were looking to use Pure for all of their faculty content. Again, they wanted to showcase the entirety of their institutional content, but they also wanted the emphasis on the faculty content as well. And so to maximize both platforms, they wanted all the features of both. This sort of a service is what really struck the mark with both of them. And so moving forward, we've got one customer that's wrapped up their onboarding. We've got another one that's in process with onboarding. And we're looking to make this available to others, certainly. So if you're interested, do take a spin through the slides once they're distributed through the app. Talk to Melena and myself, or talk to your account manager, because we'd love to tell you more.